This is WFYI News Now. It's August 22nd, and sitting in for Abriana Herron, I'm Zach Bundy. On today's show, a massive data center campus comes to Franklin Township. The Indiana Fever will be without guard Sophie Cunningham for the rest of the season. The Pacers re-sign coach Rick Carlisle. And Indianapolis officials reverse plans to fully close an encampment for people experiencing homelessness in Fountain Square.
Some people got good hearts, some don't, and I'm glad the city changed their mind. It just shows me they do have heart.
Those stories coming up, but first. The 44th annual FIESTA Indianapolis is canceled after a decision organizers say is meant to keep people safe. Latino nonprofit La Plaza manages the event and made the announcement Wednesday afternoon. The organization said the change in plans was difficult but necessary out of concern for the safety and well-being of the Hispanic community. For decades, the event has brought thousands of people in Indianapolis to gather and celebrate through art, music, and food. La Plaza president and CEO Miriam Acevedo Davis said in a release that, quote, circumstances this year have made it impossible to host the event in the way our community deserves, end quote. The announcement comes at a time when President Donald Trump has ramped up efforts to deport migrants. While no major ICE raids have been reported in Indiana yet, Governor Mike Braun has echoed his support and has had the Indiana Department of Homeland Security, Indiana Department of Corrections, State Police, and Indiana National Guard agree to help with immigration enforcement. After the approval of $45 billion in funding for immigrant detention centers from the One Big Beautiful Bill, 2 sites in the state were added to the growing number of detention facilities, Camp Atterbury and Miami Correction Facility. La Plaza said it's still committed to celebrating and will partner with Univision to showcase Hispanic heritage in central Indiana. A massive data center campus is coming to Franklin Township in South Marion County. As Farah Anderson reports, city officials approved a zoning request that moves Google's project ahead despite months of pushback from residents.
Boos and angry shouts rang through a city-county building room this Wednesday afternoon after the Metropolitan Development Commission voted to approve the proposal.
Quiet, please. Quiet, please.
Brittany York, a Franklin Township resident, condemned the data center as her neighbor. She's among many residents who have pushed back for months, raising concerns about the data center's water use, energy costs, the environment, and noise.
During the rezone, this is when we can be directly involved as community members.
Councilor Michael Paul Hart, a Republican who represents the area, publicly spoke against the proposal at the hearing. The request to rezone passed in an 8-1 vote. It will now move to the City-County Council in a group of land use proposals, but Hart wants the council to vote on this proposal separately. I'm Farah Anderson.
Indiana Fever player Sophie Cunningham will not be returning to the court this season. The team made an announcement this week after Cunningham suffered a knee injury in Sunday's game against the Connecticut Sun. The guard is the most recent player on the Indiana women's professional basketball team to be out for the season. Sydney Colson and Ari McDonald both were injured earlier this month and will not be returning this year. The 2024 Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark, has also been out most of the season so far with lower body injuries, the most recent a groin injury. It remains uncertain if she will return to the court before the season comes to an end. In a response to Cunningham's season-ending injury, the Fever have signed guard Shea Petty to a 7-day hardship contract and released guard Kyra Lambert. The Fever play the Minnesota Lynx tonight at home. The game starts at 7:30. In more basketball news, the Indiana Pacers announced that head coach Rick Carlisle has signed a multi-year contract extension with the team. This comes after last season when the team made their first appearance in the NBA Finals in 25 years. Carlisle has been the head coach of the Pacers since he was rehired in 2021. He previously held the position for 4 seasons from 2003 to 2007. Since returning in 2021, the Pacers have been to the Eastern Conference Finals twice, winning the conference title last season to compete in the NBA Finals. The Pacers lost the championship title to the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 7. And for our final story today, Indianapolis officials reversed plans to fully close an encampment for people experiencing homelessness in Fountain Square last week. Zach Castle reports the city will allow them to remain while it places them through a new initiative.
Angela and Charlie Merrill were still waiting to hear about housing on the date the camp was first set to close, Monday last week.
Yeah, it's hard to get up out here. And it is really hard to get up out of this hole.
But by Thursday, that had changed. The Merrills were optimistic about an upcoming housing appointment and said people living at the camp had hope now. What happened? It was last month when the Indianapolis Office of Public Health and Safety said it would close the camp after local property owners expressed safety concerns. The notice said anyone still there must vacate the area after the closure date. OPHS would try to connect people to housing assistance but made no promises. By the end of the day last Monday, the closure date, at least 15 tents still stood at the camp. That evening, Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett proposed $10 million to address homeless initiatives in the city budget, namely a new program called Streets to Home Indy.
Phase 1 of this plan has already begun.
OPHS Director Andrew Merkley acknowledged they had successfully placed 10 people from a different camp in housing through the new program.
Everyone from that camp wanted housing and has been rehomed.
The program was announced earlier this summer and is run with city partners. It aims to house up to 350 people in a year and will now be used in Fountain Square. When WFYI returned to the camp late last week, residents said the city had communicated with them and was actively working to put them in housing. The city estimates it will take 4 to 6 weeks to house residents, and after that, the area will be permanently closed. Angela Merrill said the change of heart was welcome.
I'm glad the city changed their mind. Just shows me they do have heart.
I'm Zach Castle.
The Streets to Home initiative follows a so-called Housing First model that provides subsidized housing for people first in combination with supportive services. These address chronic issues that can prevent people from accessing housing, including health problems or addiction. That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by me, Zach Bundy, with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music. And if you liked today's episode, remember to subscribe and share. And follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back Monday.